All right, all you freedom-loving boys and girls, men and women, changing up the intro a little bit. Ba-dum-bump. Welcome to Not Laughing Out Loud. It could be Laughing Out Loud tonight. We'll see where it goes. This is our Loadout Live segment for our Thursday night live streams that we're messing around with. We did one a couple weeks ago with John the Accessorizer, a.k.a. Gimli. He called himself that. And then we've got our great friend, gosh, I always just want, I don't even half the time, I don't even call him by his real name. So let's just say Blackbeard. Blackbeard, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to say you're the wearer of bags? Before he used to always call himself first of his name, but now he's the wearer of bags. Do you want to give a little intro real quickly? And then I'm going to do some housekeeping and we're going to jump right into the loadout.
Sure. I'm nobody of great significance. I am just somebody like you that likes outdoor gear. I've been into bushcraft since I was in my 20s, which was quite a while ago at this point. And
he's so old, he walks with a cane, everybody.
But what you come to figure out pretty quickly is that the most important thing to have is the skill set, and the second most important thing to have is the right set of tools and the things that you need to carry those tools.
So Stephen has been helping me out with stuff, and he's been on different of our podcasts in the past. He's a really smart guy, just looks and thinks of things differently. And just, I guess, before we jump into the loadout tonight, the whole one of the purpose or my task and purpose here of these is look, it's not just I'm lazy and I don't want to talk all the time. It's just if you've watched my videos, you're probably sick of hearing me talk. That's my thing. I've got that voice or that face for radio and the voice for silent film. And what I really like, and we're going to do more of this going forward. I'm still holding off on one. Well, I'll make that announcement here in a little bit. But a lot of you guys and gals have stepped up and volunteered and said, hey, I'd like to help out with this, or, da-da-da-da-da. And that's what we're trying to do, right? So to make this a more fun channel, it's you guys. And so Steven, really smart guy, just been on, helped out a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, and he, just like all of you guys, you're just so modest. I mean, look, Steven knows what the F he's talking about. But the cool thing about this, Steven, don't want to put words in your mouth, as kind of what you just said is like, hey, I didn't grow up, climbing Mount Everest or portaging, 50 lakes every summer. You're on this journey just like the rest of us, and we all have to start someplace. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure. And, I wouldn't call myself like a city guy, but I'm not like a country bumpkin either. I guess most of my life was in suburbia. I lived rurally when I was younger, but my dad wasn't really into hunting. All of his brothers were, but he wasn't. So it really didn't get passed down to me. I liked, exploring outdoors as children do, but I guess a lot of the skills kind of passed me by. And then when I was in my 20s, I had kind of a spiritual awakening where I realized that the world wasn't the way that I thought it was. And we live in times where a lot of people are going through that now and have been going through that. And that's why the prepper movement has become so large. It's because it's an unstable time. And so we start to realize, this thing called civilization that we hold on to and take as a foregone conclusion is a bit more precarious than maybe we initially thought. And when that happens, you start to appreciate, for me, it was a lot of appreciation of how machine-like the world is and how not that the natural world is. And it got me to reconnect with nature. And when I started doing that, I started to learn, skills for, okay, if I'm out for like a week, what do I need to know? And what do I need to have? And to lesser or greater degree, I started doing that. And I took it as a hobby and like a way to connect with something that was more authentic.
As we continued this fluff stage of the video, as somebody once referenced this, if you want to bypass the fluff, come on over here for the free gear, I guess, but, and not the free content, but I really like that. And so again, just, not singing too much praise or blowing sunshine and up anyone's fourth point of contact, but that attitude right there that Steven just conveyed to you, I really like that. And I think that's an important attitude, because no matter what it is that you're doing, You don't know everything, and we all have to start someplace. So get out there, have an open mind, learn things. We're going to go over some stuff, and some of the things that Steven's going to show you isn't my gear. It doesn't have to be my gear, even though this is my channel, but it's again, have that proper mindset, know what you're doing, and then figure out how you can bring the gear into the equation to act as a combat multiplier, if you will, to make your job that much easier or your survival that much more successful. And then I guess just a real quick comment, just embrace the rabbit hole. Matter of fact, that might be a hoodie going forward. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about, but let's just go down that rabbit hole real quickly before I read some comments and then do a little housekeeping, because the term prepper has gotten such a negative connotation. But to me, Steven, that just means you're an adult. You're not an idiot. Being prepared is what everybody should do every freaking day. You should be prepared. Especially if you're like, if you have other people you're responsible for, whether it's a spouse, children, loved ones, whatever. And if you're not prepared and you don't know what you're doing, and you don't even know how to start a fire in the middle, like, I would honestly argue that that's negligent.
Even if you're just a hobbyist, which, I mean, I gotta say I really am. I'm not doing it professionally. And you've had people on that do it professionally. But even if you're just out for a hike, probably anybody watching this channel will know how easy it is to get lost, to lose your bearings. And if something goes wrong, I mean, I forgot what the statistic is, but a lot of the people that get lost and never found, even just hiking like in national parks, are found within like a very short distance of the trail, like tragically short. And so, but just having like basic, even if you don't, I mean, you should know how to start a fire. I mean, that's very basic, but because the first thing you die of is exposure, actually. So even if you can't start a fire, we kind of talked about that. You should know about like insulation and how to get through the night without freezing to death or getting too overly waterlogged. But anyway, it's just about being prudent is all it is. And it doesn't have to be a laborious thing. You can turn it into something that's actually empowering and kind of a lot of fun. But I think we're probably preaching the choir.
Yeah, probably. So let's just jump into it then. So here we got just a couple comments. Gene was first in the queue. Woo woo. All right. I like it. And then right behind him was Dan. Dan, I did get your text message. But right now it's showing up as you. I think Dan's giving a big, hey guys, is that the Ronnie James Dio? I think that's the Ronnie James Dio.
The diver.
Oh gosh, don't even get me going. One of my favorite 80s hard rock bands. Snowshoe Dave checking in. Thanks, Dave. Alpha Omega here tonight with a big woo. All right, Alpha Omega, nice to see you over here. And then Dan with another one, calling you Blackbeard the legend. That's very true. He is a legend. There's no doubt about it. Yep. And then we've got, I don't think I've seen this you before, sir or ma'am, Jeep Mannix. Hello from Ontario, Canada. Well, hey, brother from up north, welcome over to the live stream. And then we've got Dave from overseas. Shalom, Dave, Cool TV. David, excuse me. Unashamedly a prepper, survivalist, and a general all-around fire starter. Don't let your local constabulary know that. They might be like, hey, who's been setting all these dumpster fires? It's got to be Cool TV. And then we got a thumbs up from Alpha Omega. All right, here we go. Oh, she got a couple more people tuning in. Angry AVV, good to see you, sir. People die all the time out hiking without even the basics.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will come up tonight or in one of the Friday night lives, the CLS After Darks. I play this game. I haven't really played it as much recently just because, my personal health, and I haven't been outdoors as much. But the game I love playing is like, and it'll be, 42 degrees, 38 degrees above zero and rainy. And I play a game of like how many people from Duluth, approximately 100,000 people. It's like 80,000. What percentage of people can survive tonight in this 38 or 42 degree, rainy, wet environment? And to, Blackbeard's comment, exposure, hypothermia. So you're absolutely right there, AVV. And then Jeep Mannix, love your stuff. Well, I thank you, sir, and I love having you here. So, and guys, so this is going to be a loadout. We're going to start it in a second. Ask questions, make comments. I'll try to keep up with the chat. I kind of failed last time, but I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll just kind of keep going and then continue on. But real quick, just a little bit of housekeeping or fluff, as it's apparently called. So tomorrow night, CLS After Dark, I've got Clint. You've seen him before. He's the creator of Nemesis Camo. He's going to come on, and I'm just going to probably title it, Grunt Talk Politics. So it's, it's the After Dark. Have an adult cocktail, adult beverage. Welcome to the adult table. We're just going to sit and talk about some of the cabinet nominees and some words of wisdom. I'm going to show off something in Nemesis just really briefly. So, hey, join us tomorrow night. You'll see it ahead of time. Then next week is Thanksgiving down here in the States or over here in the States. I'm going to have some video on demand, just regular static videos. But no live stream next Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. I hope you are hanging out and you've eaten way too much turkey, too much food, too many beers. You're pulling the Archie bunker. You got your pants undone and your hands down the front of your pants and you're passed out on your recliner. So no live next week. It's Thanksgiving, but we are going to do a CLS After Dark next week. And that's going to be with Patrick. I call him P-Rick sometimes. But Patrick, you've seen him on a couple of videos, and we're just going to sit, have an adult beverage, and we're just going to talk about the military and dispel some rumors or myths or misconceptions or whatever. And we're just going to sit and talk about our military experience. And that's enough for right now. And that, because that takes us through the end of November. Then I'll, maybe next week, on the CLS After Dark, we'll give you the schedule. I'm kind of got a good schedule going. We got some great guests and great subjects, both here on the loadouts and then over on Cialis. All right. I just have to do this real quickly. So Dan is saying his girl, the GF, the household 6 is watching. Hey, hang on. I just got to do it. Lickies and chewies. That's what Pogey Bait is. Pogey Bait consists of lickies and chewies right there. All right. AVV, could you go over the Russian issue tomorrow as well? Let me make a note on that right now, AVV, because I think that's going to have no choice but to come up, especially now that we're seeing some tit for tat, some, pretty high end, brinksmanship, gamemanship going on. So I'll make a note on that. Russia, ICBM. And I'm also assuming you mean the landmine issue and that too. Yeah, okay. We'll cover that tomorrow then, AVV. Thanks. And where's my 2-inch Texas T-bone? All right, T-bones. All right, here we go. So Blackbeard, I'm sure he can hear me. He'll be back in a second. I'm just going to start off with just some little notes on as we get into the meat bag. One thing I failed to address in the static video I did the other day is I forgot to talk about the shoulder strap. So I decided that we weren't going to sell it with the shoulder strap initially because I don't know how you're going to use it. And, we've got a couple different versions of the shoulder strap with just the regular loops or the elastic shotgun shell loops. You might, if I make it so it only comes with the regular loops, just the 1-inch loop sewn on. But then you're a shotgun hunter. You're just going to have to, swap things out, pay the difference. And truth be told, and I'm generally keeping track of this. And honestly, we're about 60 to 70% of the meat bags so far. People have not ordered a shoulder strap. So that I assume that means you're saving some money and you've already got an extra shoulder strap of some kind, as long as it's got, a good fast tech, male buckle on the ends. And I only use ITW Nexus, the best plastics out there. But if you've got an ITW Nexus or compatible male buckle on your shoulder strap, it'll work with our ITW Nexus chasm buckles. That's what I normally put on it. But I just wanted to cover that real quickly. That's why we haven't done it. And I'm keeping track. And so far, there's more people not buying the shoulder strap than there are buying the shoulder strap. So I'm going to kind of keep that as is for a little bit. And then Blackbeard, before I come it over to you, I just want to show off 2 things on my side. And then I kind of want to shut up and let you kind of do the loadout. But this is another question that's come out to me. So I just want to address this. And so I've been messing around with mine. So I've already set up my utility pouch on the outside. I'm pretty damn sure that's how I'm going to run it. Then depending on what you want to do or how, you, the end user, are going to, or whatever your adventure is, you can plug and play what you want, right? So what I like about this, like right now, I just put an EpiPen down here. It was actually inside for photos. But, you know, if that's what you need and that's got, you know, because that would be mission critical gear. You want to be able to immediately get at that if you, you know, might go into anaphylactic shock. You might want to have an EpiPen easily accessible. But, you know, you can see on the sides, I still have a chem light and a ferro rod on the outside. You know, what you put inside of the utility pouch, I can go over that. But, I mean, I've just basically turned this into like an emergency signals kit. And then just, even though this isn't the meat bag, but this is the really large Yuko safety match. This is the, you know, this thing is like 4 inches and that fits in there and there's still room on top. And then I've got like a strobe light. I just got all kinds of like fire starting emergency signal on the inside. And then the thing I wanted to address before I turn it over to Blackbeard, because I've had a bunch of people already asking, hey, look, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know the environment you're operating in. It's not my business, right? You know, you do you, as long as it's legal and all that kind of happy joy. But just to kind of give you a little bit of a heads up. Now, I had this loaded out for something else, but hopefully this will show up. So if you can see in there, that's 4. I still have items in the side gussets, right? Because I just wanted to do this so you could get a sense and I could answer. That's 4 AR magazines in there. And if I didn't have items in the side gussets, or if I, you know, and I've got them stacked so they could come right out for instant reloads, assuming that's how you're going to run it. But if you stacked them differently, so even right now, I know I could stack 6 AR magazines in here. That's if I stacked them, you know, kind of going on the depth side of it, right? So I could just open the bag, reach in there and come right up with a reload, you know, just kind of having it secured like that. And then on that note, and then I'm going to bring it over to Blackbeard. So if it'll take 6 AR magazines easily, these are 10-22 magazines. This is what a bunch of people have been asking. These are the larger Ruger ones. But gosh, I have 4 and I didn't even bother putting them in there because I bet I could stack like 10 of these things in there easily. So I just wanted to kind of address that. I had some people reaching out and asking about AR magazines and 10-22 magazines. All right, Blackbeard, I'm done for right now. Do you want to take it over and start talking your loadout? And
yeah, I can do that.
All right.
So I'm going to qualify it with this though. This isn't like this is more like my EDC urban kind of bag right now that I'm running it. And it's less for like going out in the bush. So I just want to be clear about that because that makes a difference on what you keep in it. So I went with the multicam black. See it there? Because it's sexy. Okay. You know, some people hate on it because they're like, well, it's not a practical camo. It's like, well, you know, it's all right. I have that, you know. And I added the pouch on the front that you make right there. You just switch it to the horizontal. It fits perfectly. And then I added these 2 smaller pouches, and I'll show you what I have in there in a second.
Hey, can I bring you up full screen? That won't, will it bother you if you just see you? Because that way people can see what you're doing. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all you. Go ahead, sir.
Let's start at the top and work our way down. So I got the shoulder strap because I'm not putting this on like a ruck or another bag. So I want to be able to just take it with me easily. And I also got the padded strap wrap to go on it. And it's really a luxury. If I'm wearing this like under a jacket or something, I probably will take it off just because it gets a little bit bulky. But if you're wearing it on the outside and you really got this thing loaded up, it does take off a little bit of strain over time. It also makes it feel a little bit more stable. It stabilizes the strap a little bit. So if you have weight, it's kind of nice, but not necessary. But I like it. And then I added this little D-ring here that's like a carabiner. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we got it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
And so, like when I take off my
real quickly, is that like a Grimlock style carabiner?
No, I'll show you it. Let me see if I can get it off. It's kind of a stinker. It's can you see?
There we go.
So, and then it's hard. I'll put it above my forehead. You can see it kind of bends in right right there like that.
Yeah, it's like a closing gate D-ring.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a closing gate. That's exactly right. And so what I can do is when I have this on like this, I can put this on here. Let me get it back on. It's pretty easy to get on. So there it is, right? So a lot of times, you know, you got to take your glasses off. Maybe you have just reading glasses or whatever. And you're like, well, where do I put them on my body? Because you put them in a jacket pocket. It's easy to squish them or whatever. So what I do is I just, boom, just hook it right there.
That's pretty damn slick.
It's easy.
Yeah, that's slick.
Right?
I like
And
that.
it's just boom. Yeah. So, and you can do it with other things. Like I was going to show too, and I'll pull it out right now and show you this. So when I go like hiking, sometimes to get like in a meditative state, I like to listen to ambiance music. Sometimes I want to just quiet. Sometimes I like the music too. And the this company JBL makes these little speakers that have like a level of quality of sound that you just wouldn't expect in something so small. And when you're going around, you're like, well, where do I put it? You know, and it's like, you know, so but this it's literally just boom. And you don't even have to have this padded. It's, you know, because it's on the other one, so it still works. So yeah, I really like it. And then so that's that. So moving down, the chasm buckle, I'll tell you something that if you don't make stuff, you may not really think about, but you know how you have the traditional buckle that doesn't have the 2 points of contact here, how this hooks on like on the vertical strip. But those other ones, what you find is that if you sew it in just down here and there isn't an attachment up here, then that will start to flop down if you don't have a strap in there. And so some people do is they have it where you can have the adjustable buckle that's got that center bar down here. So you run the thing through and then they just sew that down. And it's the reason they do that is so it doesn't flop around when there's nothing in it. But if you take this out, it's not flopping around. It just stays in place, which is kind of cool. I mean, and the fact that it's removable if you don't need it. But the weight, you know, anybody that's getting this stuff is like me. You're not an ultralight hiker or camper. You know, I used to, you know, I looked into that a little bit, and basically you pay exorbitant prices for gear that'll fall apart very quickly because they have to make it so thin, and they try like these special materials, but again, those are just more expensive. I just kind of bear the weight of it, you know. I just kind of make do with it, and but that's my philosophy. Not everybody's into that, but I like that. So.
Hey, and just on that note right there,
Yeah.
just a quick little plug. I mean, if somebody really wanted to go to like a loop female or an adjustable female, we could do that. But I mean, just hear what he had to say. And I also have split bars, but split bars are easy on. And if they're easy on, they're easy off. I've even done a video showing you how to use heat shrink and tape to shut off the little inner gate on the split bar. But again, there's pros and cons to everything. I also come down, and I'm not just saying it because Blackbeard just said something I agree with. I actually really do prefer those chasm buckles. It's hard on and very hard off, right? You know, so like it can be done. It's not anything crazy. They're just the gates are opposing. There's one up top and one down below, and they're opposite. So you just got to move your buckle around, and then you'll see the gate slide the webbing out the top, and then it's the opposite corner on the bottom. But there's no way in hell that thing is inadvertently coming off, as you just said. No, and then you don't get that annoying thing of that buckle flopping around or moving around on you. You know,
it's especially like I don't know how many people would really be worried about like their sound profile, but if you're trying to be like quiet, the plastic hitting on plastic and stuff can kind of be, you know, not the best.
Before you go fast, just because there's one thing I want to address and then something for you. So Gene was talking about the ATAX AU, like that color. Dan, shoulder strap wraps in the custom menu. Well, yeah, so the padded strap wraps, I'm actually going to do a video on that. They are back up on the website. I didn't even think about it. Sorry. I'm going to do a standalone video on that. But yeah, the padded strap wraps are back up in the custom menu. The shoulder straps are in their own menu. That's shoulder straps, keepers, and belts. They're in their own menu on the website. But then to your point, you just got a good shout out. great idea for the sunglasses. I actually agree. I really like that. That was pretty damn sweet. I mean, that's just a great chunk, and there it is. And, you know, yeah, you could still inadvertently lose them, but, you know, for what you're just doing, it's going to stay right there unless you get Sasquatch takes you and turns you upside down, you know.
The only thing I'll warn you, because I've had it happen, is like I'll be at church and somebody wants to hug me and I have it on. It's okay. So it's like, just be warned, if you're a hugger or people are hugging around you, you could lose your
Thanksgiving and Christmas, put your glasses someplace else. All right, I'm bringing you back up full screen, sir. I think we just went through the padded strap wrap and the shoulder strap, and now you're going into the bag itself, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, bringing you full screen again.
And there's a few things that I want to say about the bag, because it reminded me of something from my past that was kind of nostalgic. But I'll just start with it as it is. So I added these little pouches here, and what I keep in that, it varies from time to time, but there's my multi-tool, right? Skeletool, Leatherman Skeletool. Still heavier than I'd like, but it is like the lightest that I've found. It isn't like really small and compromising in the number of tools that you get. And then on the other side, if you can see it there, the Nipex, it's a German company. If any of you guys do like contracting or anything like that, you'll know they make some of the better tools out there. And this little right here pair of pliers, I think they're called Cobra pliers. You can ratchet this like that wide to get around something. Wow. And so when you're trying to do like rotate a valve open or something, this is a better tool to have than the multi-tool only has needle nose. So, but these are so small. You can see how small this is. I mean,
yeah.
And so that fits right in that, and that's just one column, you know. And there, so if you get this pouch, what's it called, Mark? What do you call this?
That's the utility pouch.
So if you get the utility pouch, it'll still leave you one channel of MOLLE on either side. And so I had these that only take one. You could like think about it. You could put your flashlight in there. What I really want, and I'm having a hard time finding, because I like 90-degree flashlights, because with those you can clip them on your belt or you could clip them up on the shoulder strap and they face forward. So if you're not wearing like a headlamp, you can turn that on there on your belt, and wherever you face, if it's a floody light, it'll illuminate your surroundings for you. You don't have to take up your hand with it, which is kind of cool. But so if somebody would make, do you know anybody who makes gear, Mark? Make, when you put that flashlight in there where it holds the flashlight, but it's open there, you could, just saying.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. Actually, we should talk about that. But so just to Steven's point, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm using that piece of MOLLE outside, on the outside portions, just like he is. But for me, I just ran a chem light through one and a ferrule rod, but that's more than enough room, as Steven just pointed out. If you've got any other pouch, right? Those aren't pouches I make that he's showing off. That's some other company, but they're single MOLLE, single columns, and then that'll work. You'll have plenty of space to put that out there. Yep. Hey, can you show off that how small that thing is to your hand again? That plier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just real. All right. Look at that. You know what they say about small hands? I'm sorry, that was a total setup. I missed it. I had the opportunity to say it to you earlier, and I messed up. But that is a pretty damn good looking tool right there. And there is something, I saw somebody made a comment about, here it is. I think this is it. Cobra XS slip joint. Is that what you got? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's okay. Exactly it. Yeah.
There it is right there. So I'm glad to see that, because I'm not joking. I'll go and look for that. And I do remember, like in my military time, in one of my admin pouches, I had not a Leatherman, but kind of a tool similar to that, where I could cut through fences. It was just more robust, right? And you could do more, because you're absolutely right. You just don't know when you need that expansion that you don't get out of the needle nose, right? So, yeah. All right, continue, sir. I'm going to bring you back full screen.
So, and the other cool thing too is with these little loops, I mean, you could fit a lot of stuff down there, but you could, again, maybe you don't want to wear it up there. Boom.
Yeah.
That easy. Anything. Carabiners for the win, Just don't try load bearing if they're not made for it, because that could be a bad day for you. But on this outer pouch here, you got these to help open it. Boom. Easy.
And just to let everybody know again, that utility pouch, you added that on. That does not come. It
does not come with it, but I like it. I mean, it adds to the bulk a little bit. So if you want a slimmer profile, but that's the cool thing is it's because it's not integrated. Like I don't have to have it on there. I could put it on my belt or not even use it, you know?
Yeah. And or it's somebody else's pouch. You know, if you've got some other pouch, then you already paid good money for it. Yeah. And as long as it's Molly, you know, columns and rows. Yep.
So in here, now this thing I have a love-hate relationship with. I got this from CountyCom. It's titanium, which means basically I overpaid for something. There are times when I like titanium, but I do think a lot of it is like overrated. But it's just like a capsule. So you can put anything like pills, or you could have like the Tinder little fire starters, put those in there. And the only thing to think about is, the titanium, so it'll basically last forever. But in order for it to maintain the watertight seal, it has to have rubber O-rings, and one of them crapped out on me. Now, the company sent me free ones to replace it, which, hey, but yeah, I keep that in there. And then I will take sometimes I take these, sometimes I don't, but I wanted to show you that it's in there. I got these on a discount because I work in the medical field. And these are kind of cool. Are they worth the money? I don't know. I mean, they're quality, but you're basically paying a lot for this. Okay.
Yeah, but that's another great item to have that you can use for so many other applications other than just cutting somebody's pants off in a medical emergency.
Correct. That is correct. So, and that's why I got it, because I was like, man, there's so many times when it's like, usually you can get by with a knife, but there's certain times when it's like, man, I wish I had a pair of scissors. And because this can fold down into a low profile, you just press the button and it goes in. And you can wear it on, if I didn't have these here, I don't have to have that to put this here because of those, the Molly, it's got a little belt. You can just, right there. Boom.
So, and just dummy cord it maybe, so you don't lose it.
Yeah, exactly. And it has this is for an O2, it's an O2 wrench, but you could feed something through there or through the eyelet right there.
Yeah, there you go. And make that a safety lanyard out of it. Okay.
Yeah. So then I've got now this is probably a lot of you guys are familiar with the Altoid tin, right? And Mark, you know exactly which one this is.
Yep, CountyCom.
This is my I keep my my pills in there. They're herbs, but when I want to take them, like one of them is ashwagandha. It's an adaptogen, so it helps if you're in a stressful situation. Kind of chills you out and helps you focus better. But it's always there. If I need it, I don't have to have a pill bottle. I just put them in here. It comes with the silicone divider, goes in there, and it's in my pocket if I want it.
CountyCom is one of those places where if you're bored on a rainy Saturday and you've got some money in your bank account, you won't by the end of the time you visit their website. They've got, dude, I still am holding off from buying the titanium dice because, get it, because then you'll never buy dice again. And, like that sound, the titanium, CountyCom is dangerous.
It is. They have so many cool, you're like, oh, I could use that there. Oh, that would be cool there. And you're like, but now my card is very expensive. I don't know if this is a good idea.
Hey, I bought a little titanium retractable scalpel. What do I need? I don't know, but I have it and it's really small and it fits in one of my survival kits. So, keep going.
This is something I'm just telling you this because I'm in the health stuff. That's why you guys are probably like, well, who cares about that? Well, first of all, I kind of misspoke a little bit. I put it in with skills, but the skills are the most important thing to have because they don't weigh anything, right? And the more that you have in here, the less you need to have in here, which means you can prioritize better. So that's important, but your state of mind is also really important too. And you have to think about that, like the psychology. That's kind of what the music is for me. And then some of this stuff. Now, here I just keep digestive enzymes. You're probably like, what is that? Your body can't just break down food with absent of enzymes. You have to have enzymes, and not everybody produces them. to the level that they need, especially like for people that have had their gallbladders out. It's good to take, not medical advice, good to take enzymes like 20 minutes before you eat, just to make sure that you actually are digesting the food that you're eating so that you get the most. And to think about that in a survival scenario where your calories are pretty low, like you want the most that you can get. So, I mean, again, this is my EDC, like urban stuff, but it's not a bad thing to think about. So this is Mark's secret. I don't know what this is. I don't want to know what it is. I just know that I love this liner. I love this liner. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt or be like it makes everything smoother getting it in and out. And it just feels like, you know what? I don't have to worry about that thing that's got a little bit sharp of an edge that it's going to start to wear on the inside and start poking holes through. It's nobody else I've ever found does that. Make of that what you will.
I need to actually, this wasn't a setup, boys and girls. I didn't know what he was going to say. The only thing I knew is he was going to have some other pouches that weren't mine. And I said, yeah, of course, you know, because people have all kinds of pouches that aren't mine. But I will say, you know, that inner material is something that I really do need to start kind of like bragging about a little bit more. It does, you know, it does make it easier, but at the end of the other end of the day, you know, this is 500 denier Cadura, which has really good longevity to it. Even and it's, you know, it's mil spec, so it's treated for sunlight, UW, all that kind of stuff. But that inner material helps increase the longevity, you know, both, and you'll see it in the meat bag here in a second, the rucksack. Where we can use it with any of our products, we always line the inside of the products. I mean, again, even though that we're using the top-notch Cadura brand Cadura, that just, you know, honestly probably triples, quadruples the lifespan of the product. Hey, because you're about ready to get into the inside of the meat bag, right? Okay, let me just get caught up because there was a couple of comments that you might want to respond to. Okay, I think this is where we were. Gene from across the pond. The Q buckle makes for one-handed clip in and out plus noises down on the low scale. Yeah. So that's that clip
True.
you had.
That's a great point.
Yep. And then again, and so your other hand might be holding off and fighting off Sasquatch or a grizzly bear, and you need to unclip that JBL speaker to ram it down his mouth or something. I don't know, right? If that's all you had, you know, do what you can do the best you can with what you have wherever you are, right?
You know, I can only play the I can't do the mimicry of the mating call of the Sasquatch, so I have to play it through that speaker, or they don't come, you know.
That's right. You can't get them. Yeah, you got to do and the tree knocking only goes so far, right?
That's right.
And we got Hunter 1776 saying, "Hi, Mark and the Freedom family. I know who this gentleman is. Great American. We've talked a handful of times. I love you just said the Freedom family. I'm finding a way to make that part of the intro and everything. I always say, all you freedom loving boys and girls, I like the Freedom family. Thank you, Hunter. That was awesome. Good job right there." And then here we go. These are kind of coming your way. The Cobra. Oh no, we already said this. That's the pliers that you had. We did that one. Then Alpha Omega, the Olight O-Clip. Now Olight's a good brand. I've got a whole bunch of smaller Olight flashlights. I do like Olight. He's saying the O-Clip actually works pretty good for that use, and it even has a red lens. And I'm assuming this is when we were talking about the angled flashlights. Well, and then here, just on that note, before you do it, here we go. Let me just do the next two because this is all about the flashlights. Gene, Olight saying there's a small and a large one, and they have a sale on at this moment. And then Steve, hey, nice to see you, Steve. Haven't seen you in a while. Saying that Woodman X3 Owl Light is a 90-degree light. Gosh, there's one more flashlight comment before you respond to that.
Yeah.
Through Night, that's another good company. Flashlights are really good. Well, yeah, and they're Through Night's the company that makes the Jack from Black Scout that makes this bad boy right here, and that's got that very aggressive bezel on the end. But he's saying it's he's just saying that he likes these flashlights. This and the V5 has been discontinued to replace the V6. All right. So do you want to address some of those flashlight questions right there? Because you kind of started it with the angle flashlight.
Yeah, for sure. So I have the Olight clip, and actually on a different, same one of your straps, but a different one. I have that clip there, and it is great. It's very powerful, and It's cool that it's got the USB-C. Like everything. Why doesn't everything have USB-C now? Because the not having to worry about, do I have the right, like everybody has had that frustration of trying to plug, not to mention it's huge, but even with the micro USB, it's not ambidextrous, and the USB-C is, and it has more power. It's just better. And anyway, that has that. And I'm a huge fan of the red light for all of the obvious reasons. Double click that sucker. It's a red light. And yeah, I think you can dial up the intensity too. So yeah, the clip is cool. I know what he's talking about, the Arkfeld. There's one that is not, there's one that has like a 90-degree head that can go from a vertical position to the 90-degree angle. I don't have that. I've looked at that and that looks pretty sweet. I think you sacrifice like a UV light, but I don't really use UV light very often. So I know what he's talking about on that one. The Through Night, I don't think I've seen that one. I've probably seen it, but I don't own any of that one, of that brand.
So Through Night does kind of, and I just wanted to point this out. I mean, so this is one of the pouches, what I did in the static video. This is the older utility pouch, but one of my pouches is my power bank. And then to what you just said, what is nice. And so the Through Night, the Black Scout flashlight, and a whole bunch of the old lights, they all run off of that USB. So if you've got this with you, you're not carrying a ton of different size batteries for different size units. It's this, because this is, and if you got a solar panel, and we'll show that. I mean, I've got a small solar panel that easily would fit in this. Definitely fits in the rucksack. I didn't even think about having that out here for the meat bag. But what's nice about this is, I mean, like these things, and this is an old one. God, they're so much more advanced and smaller and way less now. And they'll charge like, 2.5 laptops, 5, phone charges. And so just think of all your flashlights, how many charges you would get off of one of these guys. So I think that's actually, I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. Maybe, upgrading all your flashlights and just getting away from carrying AA's and AAA's, and then just running off of things that, you've got a power pack for. And then, because as long as you've got solar, you can always recharge your power pack. So that's a great point right there.
There's this is the power bank that I've got. It's really small.
Look at that.
It just magnetically clips onto the back of the phone. It can charge that way, or you can do it through the USB-C cable right here.
Yeah.
And that would fit in here, no problem. In fact, this is what
I bet that would probably fit in one of our belt pouches. That looks so small. It would be really close. It definitely fits in a utility pouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an Anchor brand. I don't know what model it is, but
hey, we're at 42 minutes. We haven't even gotten into the inside of the meat bag yet. And we're already so again, what I like about these loadouts is it just gets your brains going, and the comments. And so you guys have all made some great comments about flashlights, and that's an important thing. One other comment I wanted to pop up here, or there's 3 total. One more is another flashlight one. Dan is coming in with a great idea for the tin. And I'm here to tell you, CountyCom, I'm talking about these tins from Jack at Black Scout. I really like this size. The CountyCom is like an Altoids tin. It's a little bit larger, but you saw, and Stephen Blackbeard has them. They've got inserts where you can organize the inside. So you can get very organized just in your Altoid tins. Then we got Hennerbend coming in. That inner material also helps keep stuff cool. Yeah, it's not like a big, huge insulating material property, but it does. I mean, it does. And it's easy to wash, easy to clean. So we're talking the meat bag, whether you're throwing some fish or some grouse breasts in there. Preferably, I would still recommend putting them in Ziploc bags and throwing them there. But if you didn't, flip it inside out and rinse it out when you get home. And then Alpha Omega coming in for the win again on the flashlights. So he's saying that the new O-clip has a spot beam on it. So they changed it up a little bit. I probably need to get over there and kind of check out. I haven't done any flashlight hunting in a while, but we're kind of on a little flashlight kick. And, I've got flashlights and stuff for all these pouches, as props. And then that really kind of opened my eyes to all these flashlights that are out there. And there's a lot of really good flashlights out there. Personal defense, though, I do like this Through Night, this Black Scout Survival. That bezel on the front, self-defense bezel. I've told so many stories. I mean, I've never, and hopefully I never will have to use it against a human being or Sasquatch or a grizzly bear. But on my picnic table, I jammed and raked it one time. And I'm like, man, if that was a human being, that, I mean, this thing right here would definitely save your bacon if need be. So
Yeah, I think some of those you can use like a Kubaton, right?
yeah. Oh, there's got all kinds of stuff. Hey, before we go any further, it's going to go a little bit long, but we have a giveaway to do. Figure we just talked some shit. We got some good comments going on here. Let's do a little giveaway because I screwed it up. I don't know if I screwed it up last week, but I was not feeling my best and I probably danced all around stuff and I probably made it more confusing than it needed to be. So this was last week's giveaway. It was one of our, because this could also fit on the outside where the utility pouch goes. I kind of already showed that off. I'm not going to do it again. But this is one of our concealment caddies. It's all Chuck Norris, Good Guys Wear Black, and it's Molly on the back, so you can attach it. This is what we're going to give away. And our guest is going to be no, this is a timing one. This is going to be quick. We're moving it back to pop culture. This is not going to take long. So the first person who comes up with this, got the accessorizer. He's watching from work. Demand for the full show. That's right. Screw work. Watch the live stream. And then Alpha Omega to BS version 5. All right, here we go. This is going to be quick, boys and girls. You know your pop culture. This isn't going to take long. Whoever wins it, you know the deal. I'll ask you to send me an email with all your shipping contact information, and I'll drop that in the mail for you. Pop culture. We're going back to pop culture. We're not going to do celestial land navigation, I don't think, again. All right. In the second Alien movie, it's called Aliens. That's the second movie. What is the movie name? Not the person's real name, but the character in the movie. What is the movie name or the character name of the badass female machine gunner in the second Alien movie, in Aliens? What's the name of the badass female machine gunner in Aliens? Dun, dun, dun,
How fast can Chat GPT get it to them?
dun, dun, dun. No cheating, no looking on the internet. You should know this. Second Aliens movie with the Marines in it. That nobody yet? Nothing? Oh my gosh. Here we go. Come on. I know there's a time delay, but who's going to be our winner? Dan, negative. Dan, negative. And I'm not going to say anything more because there might be some other people thinking. Johnny Walker, winner, chicken dinner. Vasquez. Ripley. She's not she carried one of the assault rifles, but she wasn't the badass machine gunner. Good job, Alpha Omega. But here we go. Just to have fun. Share screen here. Give me a second.
Hey, Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man?
No. Have you?
Oh, Vasquez. You're just too bad.
There it is. All right. I'll stop sharing that screen.
Just another day on the job.
Hey, if you haven't watched Aliens in a while, you got to go back out and watch that movie. That's a good wintertime movie. Just on another note, and then I can't remember if it's 2 weeks from now, I'm going to actually go over a list of Christmas movies. I know, and give you some of my recommendations for Christmas movies. Aliens isn't really a Christmas movie, but it is definitely a watch sometime between Thanksgiving and New Year's movie because it's a good movie for that. Oh, hang on. Now, Dan is saying it was a stupid spell check. You know what? That means you may have been using the internet too much there, Dan. Johnny Walker Vasquez, Dan with the stupid spell check. Alpha Omega, I knew that wasn't it, but I was trying to remember. No, good. Jean, she reminds me of a devil dog high on crayons. I've never seen a devil dog high on crayons, but I'll take your word for it, Jean. Yeah, and then one of the other best lines of the movie, Dan's got it. When, say again, all after incinerators, and then, and she's just like, fuck it, and they put the lock and clear, Vasquez, lock and clear, and her and Drake have the extra tool. They hook themselves back up, and then she just says, F it, and let's rock, and then just starts mowing down the aliens. Great movie, great scene. Yeah, that Dan. Yep, that's from her. Yeah, so you knew who it was. Gene from across the pond is correct. Rambo is the first Christmas movie. Gene, don't steal my thunder. I'm going to have a Christmas movie list, and Rambo is indeed a Christmas movie. All right. AVV, I always thought she was Hispanic. I saw her at conference, and she isn't. Dan, it's all good. Johnny Walker, I had no idea until he put that in. So, all right, Johnny's being really good. Dan, I'm going to turn it over to Johnny. He's saying that your close call jogged his memory, and that's how he got it. So that's what he's saying. And it's winner, winner, chicken dinner. And if Johnny's saying give it to you, then Dan, it's yours. I'll set this to the side. We'll talk because I know I've got some gear coming to you anyway, and I'll just throw this in there, but I'll reach out to you. But Johnny Walker, it's his call because it's his piece of gear. He says it's going to you because you were good enough and close, and he kind of stole your thunder from your comment. So that's going to go there. AVV's got a good question. What was the name of the drop ship? What was the name of the drop ship? Anybody know? I know the name of the main ship, the Sulaco. I can't remember, but the drop ship that they dropped down, I was Fly the Friendly Skies. Can't remember what that one is. Good. Alpha Mega, good job, man. And then Johnny Walker, what an awesome dude from Gene. Dan, yes, Rambo First Blood is the first Christmas movie. Yeah, you are absolutely right. And then AVV Bug Stomper. Oh, that makes, I could see that because they already knew what xenomorphs. Man, I might have to watch that movie again tonight. Good pop culture quizzes there. All right, so we got that out of the way. We're at 50 minutes. Let's let Blackbeard continue, and let's get into the heart of the meat bag. This is where it's going to just be a little weird because there's just so many freaking options on how you can do the inside. All right, there we go. In the pipe, 5x5, Dan. You got it. All right, let's bring up, bringing you full screen. All right, there you go, sir. It's all you now.
If you look carefully, you will notice that there is a flap closure here with some Velcro where you could put a morale patch or anything else that has a Velcro hook backing. But so you open it up, right? And you know what? I got to say this. I have to bring this up because, again, this is what I was referring to about the nostalgia thing. And since you guys like pop culture, okay. I don't know if Mark talked about this in one of the other videos, but and Valley Reb has been on one of the shows before, and he has this bag. I used to have one, and I don't have it anymore, but Gene from across the pond may have seen them in person. They're a World War II gas mask bag called the Mark 7, okay? And they this bag was sourced for the original Raiders of the Lost Ark film, and I don't have that bag anymore to show you, but the dimensions of this bag feel almost identical. And in fact, if you look at it, even the flap, the way that this is cut here is like that. It's like you're wearing to me, this is like if Indiana Jones is, because that was, that's World War II. So you're talking cotton canvas. And even the strap was originally canvas. They replaced it with leather for the film and that. But if Indiana Jones was like alive today, if he was like a modern character, it's like, this is what it would be. This is what he would be toting around, So it's kind of like extra cool for me because of that. But let's get into this. So inside, beef sticks, okay? Because you got to have a snack. Why not? Now this little pouch here is kind of cool. This I keep my cordage, power cords, USB-C, and so forth for my phones. This, if anybody recognizes, is a cool little thing. It's for the Olight. Olight makes this orb that glows in different colors and stuff. And this you can hook on your on like a necklace or a keychain, and it opens like this, and it's magnetic, comes apart, and you just set it on top of here, and it'll magnetically charge with the USB-C cable coming out of the back of it.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
So, and I keep all that's in my little pouch here, which you can open up and get whatever you want. It has zippers. I love zippers. Mark hates zippers. To each his own, zippers.
No bueno. No bueno.
This beautiful, beautiful zipper. And then I have this pouch. And this, it's like what's the name of the Russian dolls? I can never pronounce it. It starts with an M.
It's the nesting dolls. I know
The
you're
nesting
talking-
dolls. So it's like pouches within pouches, but I like organization because I like to know where things are located. So here's a small kit that has basic first aid. Okay. This is not like if I'm at the range. This is not even if I'm hiking. This is just, I just sliced my finger doing whatever. I got some Neosporin bandages, maybe like alcohol, pads, that kind of thing. That's in here. That goes in here. That goes in the bag. Now in this pouch, and it's color coded, so I don't have to guess. Wait, what did I put in the little? It's like I don't want to spend time doing that. Dental floss, because hey, you're eating meat sticks. You got to keep your hygiene up. Now this is a cool little pen. I think it's called Polka, something like that. But you see that profile? The cap extends it to the full length of a regular pen. Okay. Now you can fit a regular pen in here, but I like the space saving aspect of that. And it is watertight because it's got an O-ring right there. So there's a sleeve in the back right here. And you can keep notepad in there. Got it. Maybe you're looking for directions. I use it when I'm doing like carpentry kind of work and things like that. And I got my pen to make the notes. So hey, easy enough. All fits in there. And this only takes up half. So like you can fit a water bottle in here too. Now this is my fire kit. I always like to have fire redundancy. And so in here, it's just one redundancy. I have my fire steel, right? But inside the cap here is your tinder. So that's kind of cool. Because sometimes, it takes a while to make a bird's nest. It's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes.
Well, and if it was, again, everything was wet and cold and time matters, just, skip right to it and go to what you got. Yep. Yeah. And then those, all right, I'm going to bring you back full screen here.
Always take off that. I mean, unless you have children or something, but I take off the safety thing on there because it just makes it so much easier to light it, Now it's waterproof because those big lighters are inexpensive, but if they get wet, yeah. So that goes in my fire kit. So I have the 2 redundancies in there, and I have others, but they're in, my dedicated stuff. So I keep that in there. I've got now here, it's fun. You can't believe I use these so much. It's ridiculous. Like these are the belt keepers, right? So you just. I mean, say you didn't have that. And I mean, right now I keep my keys on it. So I keep my key fob on my belt and I just reach down because I hate the feeling of having all my keys bunched up in my pockets. To each his own if you don't care, or maybe you keep it in your jacket or something. But, if I'm sitting down, it's like bunching up. It's like, I just don't love that. But anyway, you can run that. So I'll show you here. There you go. Okay, another one of those carabiner D-rings. There's my key fob. There's the belt keeper. But so I always have that. And you can loop that through the MOLLE. It's not designed for that exact spacing. It's designed for your belt, I think, but it still works. And so I'm walking around. I don't have the thing on me. It's just so useful. You wouldn't think, but it is. So I keep that in there too. And then lens cleaner, basic stuff. That's pretty much it for my day-to-day stuff. I do want to talk about this a little bit. This is where I keep my phone in here, and you could put that other charger in there too. But the cool thing about this is that it's not just got the MOLLE this way, but there's horizontal on here. So what that means is that if I want to, I've got this on, it will fit right there. So this tucks in the back, which I won't do right now, but it tucks back in there. I can have my phone right there if I want it, if I need it for whatever reason. Usually I wear this on my belt, right? I just keep it down there. But if for some reason I need that cellular radiation irradiating my cardiovascular system it's right there close to my heart at all times, you know. But it's just a cool little another optionality that you've got. Just because the strap has loops on it, just something simple. But it's always the simple things that really add the most value, I think. It's when people try to make things too complex. It's like this. It's like, what is it? It's one large compartment. That's what it is. It's got a slip pocket, but it's one large compartment. But I like that because then I can put whatever pouches or whatever things I want in it. And it's not like, so the original, that gas mask bag, the Mark 7, it had a divider in there, right down the middle. And that had to do with the mask itself. It had like a tube that came off it. So you'd store that on one side, the mask on the other.
Yeah, the canister was on one side, the mask was on the other. Yep.
Yes. But what it does is it totally limits the carrying capacity, because anything that's bigger than the width of that divided compartment, it's out. So all of us that got those, the first thing you do is cut the stitching and pull that out so that you've got volume. So they did it for a reason, obviously, but I like the simplicity of it, you know.
Well, and if I can, just to plug, you know, Centerline here and just the thought behind it. So again, the original meat bags, you know, they didn't have a divider in between, but they had the rounded corners. So it's the same thing, though. The reason we squared this off here, I should probably just do it on the backside a little bit better, is so because it's easier to store. You know, if this is rounded off in the original design, which that's really almost the only difference, it then, you know, you're not getting those cylinders, you're not getting those square or rectangular objects. Everything's, you know, and even you can't lay it flat, you know, like those things got to be up here. And then what, you know, like in the thing you need just rolls down into the bottom and it just gets stuck on the bottom. So that's another one of the reasons we did, you know, we designed it the way we did, is that right there.
I think a good thing to think about too, when you're doing like a shoulder bag system, and everybody that runs one will know that, it's like, you know, if you're wearing a rucksack, and I like the tactical ones like yours that have the quick release buckles, so you can just boom, it's off. You don't have to, you know, totally change your posture to get it off. But the only way to get in there is to take it off. That's just how it is. And that doesn't mean it's not useful, because what it does is it keeps the center of gravity from shifting around. You sacrifice that to have the ease of use of, you know, on and off and entry in a shoulder system or a sling. And
there is a way to resolve that, though. I've done this. I haven't done this in a long time, but on the backside, you know, whether it's the mother, a scout, anyone else's piece of gear, as long as there's an attachment point like a molly on the back, a little S-beaner, because you can hook up the backside S-beaner and then hook it up to your pant, you know, like your belt loop or the belt. And that ain't going to be, it isn't perfect, but it definitely prevents large sways. You know, you'll still get a little bit, but nothing large. But now to your point, now it's not as time. It takes a little bit more time to reach back there. And if you've got gloves or if you're under duress, you know, or if it's wet, it might be a little bit more difficult, you know, depending on the size of the S-beaner. But, you know, it is a little bit more of a pain in the ass to unhook it, but you can do that. You could even just do it with the molly on this right here. Much more of a pain in the ass if you did just the molly, though, I think. If
you wanted to stop, so the reason I brought it up is because seems to be, just from the bags that I've used, I've had smaller bags, you know, this size bag, and then I was going to show this way bigger bag, okay, like way bigger, and I'll just tell you, like, I use this every day. I use it every day. I use this a couple times a year, and it's just it's too cumbersome. Like I can get a whole laptop in that one, but it's if you're just going out, it's too much for me personally. I think this is like the optimal size. It's not too small, it's not too large, it's like right on point. So like this one, I specifically added these buckles so that I could run a strap. I don't know if you see that. You can run a strap from here around to stop it, because the bigger it is, the more of a problem that becomes. So this one doesn't bug me in that way. But if it did, I don't see, there's Duraflex makes like these little U-clips that are plastic, and then they have a metal gate that swings and catches. There's no reason you couldn't put one right here and on the other side and just run a strap through there, and that would keep it from moving around on your waist.
Yeah, or just use your keepers. Like, you use the keepers, have the keepers with the loops facing out, S-beaner to a strap,
Yep.
or even 550 cord. You could do
Yep.
that. And I didn't think about ever bringing that up. And again, yeah, Blackbeard's talking about my product. And that's what we're doing, right? It's my channel. I'm not going to come over here and talk about somebody else's product. But the other thing, though, I just thought about, and I never really thought about this, and I'm going to have to put my padded strap wrap on and experiment. But I'm looking at you in that jacket and with the padded strap wrap. I just think that, see, it's not just easily moving around. Like that would help kind of, it seems, pin it in place a little bit too.
Yeah, it's not like let's just. I mean, a couple inches.
Yeah.
It's not like it's. And that's important actually.
Yeah, you're not in a Jaguar commercial, swashing and swaying all over the place. Hey,
I don't wear dresses either.
Hey, we're just one other thing I just wanted to point out. I know you kind of covered it, but I don't know if this will show up a little bit better. But there's inside gusset pockets on the sides of it, and so I just got over on this side. This is just a Mora knife. Right. So again, that fits into the pocket. And then these are just examples, and then this is a little hand flare, like a emergency rescue signal type of flare. So if, again, and if you're doing personal defense, maybe it's an ASP baton, maybe it's the V5 or V6 flashlight. This is, you'll see it behind me. This is a really great signal device. This is a laser, and it's a green laser. Go back and watch my emergency signal videos from years ago, Gerber tools, battery storage compartments. Again, this is another one of those flares I just mentioned. So those are the types of items, large and small, that you can get into the inside pockets. I thought this, I shouldn't have done the orange, kind of blends in with my hoodie. That flare. And this is that, again, Mora knives. Like them, don't like them. These are just for the price point. It's hard to beat, to tell the truth. And they've got it. This one's got a fire starter in it. You can see that knife is a little bit longer than this flare. Oh, good thing I didn't just end the live stream. But those are some other options that can go in there. It could be a spork. It could be a spork knife and, whatever kit, for your food, however you're using it. So, and then my last thing. Yeah. I just have some emergency signal via 17, and then I just did a little S-beaner. If you were going to be doing, like, if I was setting this up for nighttime, and this is like a little headlamp, you could do whatever. So you got some interior spaces for for connections and for additional storage. I just wanted to plug that one more time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we're at an hour, a little after an hour, hour and 5. What more do you got? You got a couple more little goodies? Because, that's a pretty damn good loadout. You guys tell us in the comments, like, oh, my God, Mark and Blackbeard are retards. Whatever. But, there's just so much to go over in this thing. It's hard to do a full loadout video. The intent between these loadout lives is to just give you ideas and to hear other people other than me. And also so I can see other people's ideas and I can get some ideas of my own. So.
Well, it's always good to have this tissue.
Yes, indeed.
Because clearing your nose just out into the air kind of turns people off. But yeah. That's most. I guess I can show this. It's not what we're loading out today, but I just did a review, and I'm going to do reviews.
No, save that because that's where I'm going to go in. I want to take some time and mention. Yep. So I got 2 more things to do. Here's the first one. All right, if we're doing that, give me a second here.
Were there any questions?
Somebody did this in the chat, so I now have no point. I have no choice but to do this.
All right, sweethearts, what are you waiting for? Breakfast in bed? Another glorious day in the Corps. In the Marine Corps, like a day on the farm. Every meal's a banquet. Every paycheck a fortune. Every formation a parade. I love the Corps.
Man, the floor is freezing.
What do you want me to do? Fetch your slippers for you?
Gee, would you, sir? I'd like that.
Look into my eye. All right, sweetheart. So what are you waiting for?
I'm gonna have to watch that movie again tonight. That there are just so many good one-liners there in that movie. And who was that? I was Dan. He actually did the quote in there. Hey, and then real quickly for you back on the masks or the bags. Gene was saying in the UK, all of the new Pro Mask bags are used by preppers, etc. But they're using the DPM and the Desert DPM, their camo pattern. They're, Pro Mask bags actually have a lot of good use to them, and there's no doubt about it. Gene, then love it, gives me ideas, but where are the gummy bears? And then you already did the TP, so you just answered part of it. You just didn't do the gummy bears.
Gene, that's what leaves are for. Nature's toilet paper.
Or that's what gummy bears are for. You just eat gummy bears and you won't need toilet paper, or eat MREs. Steve's saying he really likes the bag. Okay, as we wrap it up here, we got to do homage and justice to Steven here. Do you want to talk a little bit about your new venture? Because I'm going to promote the F out of it if I can. And then as you're talking, I'm going to bring up just so people can see the channel.
Yeah, so I'm going to start reviewing gear because everybody always tells me, hey, you should review gear. So I was like, okay, maybe that's a sign. But I don't have the video loaded up yet. I just edited a video that'll be a review of the Big Boy folding saw pouch. So that's something else. Now this isn't going to be only center line. I just was like, in a nod to Mark, my first one I'm going to start with is a center line product. It's this folding saw pouch, because this is what allowed me to find his company to begin with. And I think somebody else mentioned that too. It's for whatever reason, like nobody is doing this. Like nobody is making this pouch. There's a couple people, like I think there's somebody on Etsy, because I wanted to get one for the Pocket Boy, and I might go over that. It's not as good as these, but it's fine. It works. But yeah, it's like, I'm sure you guys have this. I still have actually the Baco Laplander.
Don't get us down another review. Talk about your channel, what your goals are. Okay, now that is sexy though. I've got that one too. That is sexy. Yeah.
So the channel is called Quest Views. And I'll probably load that up tomorrow because the video is pretty much cut. And it'll just be me I tried to do it as professionally as I could, but I don't want to seem how do you call it, like rote, like prepared, because I'm being real with it. I'm just doing it because I like these things, or these are things that I think could be improved upon. And not that anybody will care what I think per se. Maybe they will, but just it'll give you a little like resource. If you're bored or something, you can check it out and be like, oh, what kind of stuff is he discovering? What's he thinking? Because every now and then I like to say I have a decent insight, and I know you guys too do as well. So you could, if you comment on there, we could like discuss stuff. I just think it would be fun. So yeah, views.
Just I'll pop it up one more time. Everybody should have been able to see it, but if you haven't watched any of the previous videos where we've had Steven on talking about different subjects, I mean, what I really hope goes well for you in with your channel is the no bullshit, common sense approach and conversation about the gear, but then your smart ass and your humor, because I don't want to, spoiler alert, just pay attention to the video. Like you already know the part that made me laugh when I saw the preview, and I was just like, okay, that's just really funny. So, it isn't going to be dry. Well, I can't say that. I mean, maybe it will be dry, but it's just like Steven's a very intelligent, funny guy. That already is coming out in the video, and I personally think, in my humble opinion, that's what makes a good review, is just like, hey, I'm just a guy just like you. I'm just trying to figure this out, and here's what my thoughts are, and this is what I'm dealing with, or this is what I liked and I didn't like about it. It doesn't mean you're right. It's an honest appraisal, right? You know what I mean?
There's when I was like looking for gear, because you go out and then you're like, oh, I thought I would use this and I don't actually need this at all. And then you're like, man, I really wish I had something to solve this problem, when you're outdoors or whatever. You're like, well, what fills that spot? And so you start searching for it. And the problem is these companies, they like pay people to do these professional reviews
Yep.
that are they're very obviously what do you call it, public relations, like I don't know, like a what do you call those where you send them out to the newspapers, press release. It's like a press release, and that doesn't help you at all. So the only thing you can do is find like normal people that are either reviewing it on YouTube, or I would even check Reddit threads to find real people, because it was so hard to find. And I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. You're like, well, is this flashlight any good? And it's like, maybe you have to go to the real people to find out. So I'm going to be real with all of it, always, because that's what I want. That's the only thing that has any value to it anyway. So.
No, I agree. And that's why I wish you the best in that, because I love that idea, not to, yeah. So anyway, it's a great idea. Give him a view, give him a shout. I'll just add it to the stage one more time. So there it is on ScrewTube. Are you going to be on Rumble or Twitter or X, excuse me? Are you going to do anything over there?
So I tried to create an X account and it kept saying that it was encountering an error. I have one like for my, what do you call it? Like the 40, it's 40 kind of stuff. Like cause I'm a nerd about like I joke about the Sasquatch, but I love that stuff. Like I love that and the mysteries and UFOs and stuff like that. So I have one for like that kind of where I've curated it to kind of have that in my feed, but I haven't made one for this yet, but I will do that. And I'll post the stuff on there. And if anybody wants to talk to me on there, you can do that. And so, yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about Rumble, but it's good to be diversified, because YouTube is very corporate and very, you know, like,
yeah.
So I'm not going to use profanity in any of my videos. It's just not the way I try to live my life. So that shouldn't be an issue, and it's not gonna, I don't talk like when I come on these shows and stuff, if like the After Dark or something, then we can talk about like those kind of things, but this is just like gear stuff that I like. So it's just, that kind of stuff has a certain way to it that has its time and place, and that's not what I'm going for. So,
and
this
if
would be
you, and if you are into some of that other type of conversation that Blackbeard just mentioned, UFOs, cryptids, Blackbeard and I just had a conversation last night about a book that I just discovered, and he already knows about it. And we kind of, without getting into it, kind of getting ahead, on the 20th of December for the CLS After Dark, it's going to be me and Blackbeard. Now say this to the tune of lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. We're going to talk about UFOs, aliens, and ancient astronauts. Oh my. So we're going to have just a geek out, let's have fun conversation on the 20th, talking about those type of subjects. Hey, we got a handful of comments. I want to bring them in for you so you see it, and then kind of give you the last word here.
Sure.
I think we left off with the gummy bears and the TP. Yeah, nuts. You said, use paper. Steve saying he likes the bag. Dan, great loadout, Blackbeard. I mean, so again, so you see somebody else's perspective. My brain was talking about more tactical use. That's what a bunch of people have been asking me about. That's why I led off with the AR magazines. But, on the daily use, the everyday use, the Indiana Jones, that was all Blackbeard. That was his, like, dude, this is like an Indiana Jones bag, so that's all you guys, right? So everybody looks at it and has a different use to it. And again, I didn't know he was going to show off some of the other gear. And I didn't know that he's using it every day, but I can definitely see it. And once I can start getting a little bit more mobile, that's what I'm messing around. That's the fun of gear. I'm figuring out what my setup's going to be. So when I can finally get on the bounce again, then I've got this already dialed in, right? Gene, thanks Blackbeard for tonight. Woo, big woo from Gene. You kind of already started this, Dan.
Yeah.
The pouch is the gateway drug.
Yeah.
And then AVV, good shout out. This is 1980s. I think this is 1980s and 90s military. Yeah, but your pro mask bag, that was actually your pillow. That's exactly what we mean, AVV. Although this is actually not, if you had all the gear in it, wouldn't be a good pillow. Steve saying great show. Thanks, Blackbeard. I think we got 2 more comments. Oh, and then I guess I must have screwed this up. AVV. Hang on. Blackbeard has a birth name. The spell is broken.
Those are wild rumors.
Those are rumors.
Yes.
Yeah. You can't rewind and prove that I actually called him by his Christian name. So, and then we got Cool TV.
Ooh.
Well, there it is. Then
right.
join us on Friday, the 20th of December, Cool TV, David, because we're going to sit and talk about that and, chime in and make comments. And that's what it's all about on the late night lives, the CLS After Dark. So, yeah. So we'll hopefully see you on the 20th and we'll sit and talk about that. And we'll bring up that book. I kind of inadvertently made a mention to it in a video somewhere in the last week or two. It's just, just to give you a heads up. I mean, and this is where Blackbeard and I started talking last night. If you look at, Blackbeard, should I do it? I mean, like human beings, are we really, if you look at us in the grander scheme of things, none of it makes sense. We have no claws. We're weak. We've got eyesight and brains, but no fangs. Our hair is all wrong. I mean, like, and it just starts, and some people, again, it's just an adult conversation. Like, hang on a second. Does this make sense? How did we become the apex when we have everything going against us on in a nature, predation, survival type of perspective? What is it that allows us to, to be the apex predators? And there's some people who have some very interesting thoughts on how that happened. I'm actually still going through the most recent Joe Rogan with Jimmy from Bright TV, Bright Insight. What's his last name? Jimmy Corveris. I apologize to him, but Jimmy from Bright Insight. And they're talking about Gobekli Tepe and it's just like all this, like, hang on a second, none of this makes sense. And it's just an adult conversation. Maybe we have forgotten, techniques and ways of things because our society focused on metallurgy and that kind of stuff. And we forgot what maybe if society was different, we may have pushed in a different direction from technology and instead of, to even to Blackbeard's point. This is modern materials, a spin on an older product. Well, we can go in this direction because we're doing modern materials. What if it was something else, et cetera, et cetera. So Johnny Walker, Gene wants to know if there's any lizard people and some lizard Bidens. And then Johnny Walker saying opposable thumbs. Well, there's a lot of tool users out there in the nature world too, but
there's no way that you can hitchhike effectively without one. So
not through the galaxy, not through the galaxy. You cannot hitchhike your way through the galaxy without a big thumb. You are exactly right. All right. Hey, we're at a minute 20, hour, 20 minutes. Maybe these Thursday night loadouts are going to just be longer than I thought. I wanted to do them 30 minutes. I don't know if that's realistic. And honestly, I'm just having tons of fun and you guys are still here. Some of you are here, so you're having fun apparently too. So, but why don't we wrap it up, Blackbeard? Take us out wherever you want to go. Just take us out wherever you want to go.
Well, I think it's just about, for me, a lot of this stuff, and the reason that I kind of went over, because I wasn't in the military. So, but the reason that I like that tactical gear, somebody says tactical is practical, and it's the modularity of it. It allows you to kind of have not just customization through Mark, like when you order, but it allows you to customize to exactly the kind of circumstances that you're living through.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, that's one of the best things about this is pairing the modularity with something that makes my life easier on a day-to-day basis. It makes my life easier. And, people make fun of people that are like tactical, that was a big thing for a while, but, I'm not going to lie. Like it also kind of influences your state of mind too, to know, hey, if I need this, it's right at the ready, And, so a lot of people are like, they don't carry anything on them hardly. And I just think, I feel sometimes I'm at the point where I kind of feel naked without it. And I think this is great for EDC. If you're like category, because the rucksack I think is very particular. It has a place and it's a really important place, but like this is something that you can take literally, and I do every single day, and I wouldn't BS it about it. Like this is because I was using something else before that I had cobbled together and it just wasn't as good. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I was like to my wife, I'm like, hey, do you want this? Do you want my crappier hand me down? And she's like, I'll never say no to a pouch, So she's got that, but it's great for EDC. Genuinely, it's really cool, and I'm glad I got it for sure.
Just three quick points. Yeah, the rucksack is definitely, the gear we make is, I try to make multifunctional, multidimensional gear. I don't want gear that sits in the closet and you only bring it out once or twice a year. The rucksack might be a little bit more of that piece of gear, but my answer to that would be then have it loaded up with survival stuff and leave it in your vehicle, right? Because chances are because your vehicle is either where you work, where you live, or you're in your vehicle driving, from point A to point B. So why the hell not do it? Because just imagine a mother, the meat bag, over the shoulders, and a rucksack with 2 Gap pouches and a G3. You tell me what zombie apocalypse movie you're living through that you wouldn't be able to fucking survive and figure it out. And then, I'll show you the world's best zombie apocalypse movie because I can't even figure it out. But then, so that's a great thing. So again, and I've got to do a better job of this, again, that's what we try to do. I'm trying to make multifunctional, multi-purpose, multi-dimensional gear that you can use for a wide variety of adventures. So it's not just in your closet and you're only using it once or twice a year. Another plug I wanted to make real quickly. 2 more plugs to Blackbeard, right? So I already showed it. Quest Views. Let me just do it one more time. Add it to the stage. Go give him a follow. He's going to start doing gear reviews, not just my gear. I mean, all kinds of other gear, and use that as part of your community. So, again, you guys have made great comments here tonight. There's been great, thoughts and additions. And I think that's something that, I'm really trying to push, from Centerline going forward. That's why we're doing these loadouts. And I think you'll find that over with Blackbeard over on Quest Views. And then last but not least, so the meat bag, matter of fact, Stephen, maybe we saved the best for last, but Stephen and I are working, and it's not totally up to Blackbeard, but if you've seen some of the previous videos, he does leather work and he does great leather work. I've seen some of the pouches he makes. Blackbeard, you want to maybe just address that real quickly and what we are kind of playing with for the future?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing like a limited edition or run of like a few pieces of Mark's gear, but in leather. So like, certain things with Shift, I probably wouldn't use the plastic hardware. In fact, I have no intention of using that. I just don't think it fits the aesthetic, but I'm like, I probably
with the leather. Yeah, no, you got to have, with the leather.
So I'm probably going to replicate the meat bag, and I might do a couple other things. And so it'll be like a limited kind of thing. But if you're into that, if you like leather, I talked about that before, but I think it still has its place. Most of the time I'm using the modern, Cordura and that. But there's something that's very romantic about leather. It lasts a long time, and it has its advantages still. And so yeah, I don't
and it looks really sexy. So
I'll show you this. So this is my Grand Source Brooks Hunter's axe, and that's what I keep in there. But now this comes with a sheath on it, okay? And it's not this one. I made this one. So it's got the same kind of retention strap system as the factory, but this is made out of Horween horse butt strip. And so that has a little bit tighter, it has a tighter grain in it. So it's a little bit more durable. Not that anything is wrong with the cowhide. I use that all the time too. But something else I did, I saddle stitched this. The cool thing about saddle stitch, I recessed it, okay? So there shouldn't be any abrasion here. But if one of these fails, the rest of them still remain in place.
Yeah.
Now, moreover, let's say that this axe falls on its face. It's closed by the stitching. I don't have to, and I have this, wedge in here, okay? So you don't have to have these rivets. But the rivets are just another like safety mechanism that, okay, now it's got to go through the rivet and the leather and the stitching before it comes out and becomes hazardous. So no, ain't going to happen. And then the other thing, anybody who uses an axe, there's a reason they make sleeves. This one's kind of beat up because I've had it for a while, but I made this too. And that protects this top portion of the handle, because even though it's a hardwood, you're going to hit it. So you're going to hit that and it's going to get dented up. So yeah, that's something that I made as well. And it's
So-
it's cool too, because watch this. So the strap is off, it still doesn't come out. Well, why doesn't it come out? And the answer is I created a lip that's in here. There's a lip so that you can't just put it in like this. It stops. You have to hook it in. You hook it in, but as a consequence of it hooking in,
Yep.
it doesn't come out. And
Another retention / safety feature.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, so it's that attention to detail. So it isn't going to happen between now and the end of this year, but in the very near future, we'll Blackbeard and I are still working things out. I mean, we'll probably just have them over on the website, and it's like you said, it's going to be a limited run. We don't know if it's going to be 2 or 4. We're still talking leather and all that kind of stuff. I just actually sent him all the dimensions but what he's going to do with leather is different. It's going to be slightly different from how we do it with Kadura. So we got a little bit of figuring out to do, but just stay tuned. That's going to be coming in the future, and that's really cool. And and I'm proud to announce that and show off some of the cool things that Blackbeard does. Final comments here. Thank you. And then my last. Well, here, let me just do the final comments, and then my last from the the guy running the video comment. Gene, bring a towel of hitchhiking in space. You don't know what he's talking about, go watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. AVV, he's never been over prepped, but he's been under prepped a few times. Amen. Don't wait until you're in the middle of the crisis to prepare for one. So thanks for sharing that, AVV, because that's so true, right? That works for. And then he said,
correct what he's saying there. Yes.
Yep. And do you want to address that real quickly?
It just has to do with the profile of the blade.
Yep.
So there's you can see that this is exactly that. And there's other kinds like the carpenter's axe is the carpenter's axe is like totally different. And there's other ones like tomahawk has a different blade profile, and they'll change too, like on the width of this here. So this is pretty thin, you can see. And if you're doing if it's dedicated for splitting, that would be a totally different, you have a totally different sheath or something like that. But and just a cool little factoid. I was watching a video by Morris Kohansky. If you're not familiar with him, he's one of the legends of bushcraft. He was a Canadian. There's instructor, but he used to work in lumber. And I always wondered why the double-headed axe. Because you could say, well, as a weapon of war or something, but you have to remember that most of the weapons of war were actually farm tools that people would bring in. There's definitely exceptions to that, but most of them. And so what it was is he explained it was that one side of the axe was for getting toward the roots of the tree where you would make contact with stone and gravel and stuff and therefore dull the blade. And the other side was for hitting the wood proper so that it would maintain an edge better and you didn't have to constantly sharpen the blade. That was what he explained. I just thought that was a cool,
I mean, and that makes all the sense in the world. Keep one more pristine for your fine work, and the other, you're not as worried about it getting dulled up for your more heavy lifting and pounding type of work. I mean, and I'm not saying pounding, but great point right there. And then last comment, and then I gotta remember to come up and give one shout out here. Gene, remember that the hook and loop field can have patches that if you cut them on the back, you can hide small things in the patch as well. There's companies that do that, and I've got an obvious, I shouldn't say obvious if you haven't seen in the other videos and you don't know my background. I do have a lot of real world experience of that. I've thought about doing that stuff, Gene. Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, because the truth be told, here's my biggest fear is most people don't have that experience and they don't know what they're doing. And if you get caught traveling internationally, I've seen there's a bunch of people out there who try to pretend and push themselves off as hey, I'm this guru and this expert in this thing. And I'm like, you're obviously not, because there's no effing way you would travel internationally doing real espionage with those type of things that would bring attention to you. And if found, would definitely result in you being in the Huskow, and you're going to have your fingernails pulled out. And I mean, it's so I'm hesitant on some of that stuff, Gene. But you're absolutely right. I mean, there are other options that you, the individual, can do and modify, and that is one of them. And whether you're putting picks back there or lickies and chewies, that's what I'd put back there. Maybe some lickies and chewies. All right. And then I just got to give a quick shout out over here.
And just so people can see, this is a better example of a true bearded axe.
Here, let me bring you up real quickly. There you go. Yep.
So, and then like you can see the difference in the profile. Just a second. Something like this. It didn't. Auto-correcting. It's auto-correcting, and it shouldn't. Yes, you can see.
Just like it auto-corrected from Vasquez to Vasquez.
See how there wouldn't be a catch point on something like a splitting maul for the most part.
Yep.
But yeah.
All right. Then last thing though is back on that contest and then talking about that. So just a huge shout out to Johnny Walker. And then we're going to move that the giveaway over to Dan. Johnny Walker, good man. Charlie Brown, really appreciate that honesty and that team spirit and just that camaraderie. Dan, I'll probably hit you up later, but unless I'm totally having Alzheimer's moment, I'm just going to throw that in with your existing order, and I'll probably end up calling you tomorrow to talk about that stuff. Matter of fact, if you have an existing order with me, you're probably going to get a phone call from me tomorrow, because next week is Thanksgiving, and just to go over everything and just kind of let you know where we are and the process going forward. I think that's all I got for tonight. I had tons of fun. I hope you guys and gals watching, I hope you enjoyed it, found it, educational and entertaining at the same time. Blackbeard, take us on out, my good man. Oh, hang on. One last comment. The accessorizer. Glad you're still on. He just cracked a beer and lit up a cigar just back home from work. Hey, Gimli, you're going to have to go back and watch the whole thing and crack open a couple more beers, because we did an hour and a half tonight. So just giving you a heads up, brother. I know, twist your arm. All right, take us out, Blackbeard.
Just want to say thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun. And I look forward to talking more about stuff going on in the future. So, yeah.
Yep. And we'll have Blackbeard again on the 20th of December. Lions and tigers and bears. We're going to talk about UFOs and cryptids and just whatever comes to mind. So hopefully, pour yourself an adult beverage and join us on Friday at our CLS After Dark on the 20th of December. Thank you so very much, everybody who was here tonight. Thanks to all you guys in the chat. You're actually getting to the point where it's getting hard for me to focus on what I'm thinking, what I want to ask the guest, and then still keep up with the chats. And that's actually tons of fun. You guys are you're adding great content and making it lots more fun. Stay tuned. I got a few more announcements to make. I'm not going to do them tonight. I'll probably do them as a standalone video next week, or I'll bring them up in next Friday's Cialis After Dark. Me and P. Rick are going to kind of talk about the military, the myths, and maybe bust some myths, or just kind of maybe just share some of our experiences. Not that it's anything special, but it'll just be a fun conversation. You might find some things rather surprising. No live stream next Thursday. That's Thanksgiving here in the States. So give thanks to your friends, family, enjoy your food and friends and family. And then, we'll get back on it on Friday with the Cialis After Dark. Blackbeard, what am I forgetting? I don't know if you're looking at me with a piratey look.
No, it's just weird because I'm usually on the tablet, and it's hard for me to even see where the camera is. And then here, I know where the camera is, but now I feel like, but I don't know what's going on if I don't watch you or myself. And it's kind of like, it's strange, I should be looking right here, but
it's not easy. I'm down here looking at you, and my camera's right up there. So it's not easy being green, right? All right, we're going to wrap it up, take it on out. Thanks for playing along tonight with the giveaway. Big, huge shout out and hats off to Blackbeard, aka the wearer of bags, and him taking the time away from his family to give his opinion and how he loads out his meat bag. If you guys got questions, comments, you know the deal. Reach out anytime. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night on Cialis After Dark. Clint from Nemesis Camo. I'm also going to give you a sneak peek at a new version of something, just because I did it in Nemesis, because Nemesis Camo looks really badass and Clint makes Nemesis. So, but then we're going to sit and talk a little bit of politics, just from the perspective of a couple knuckleheads, right? A bunch of grunts. So that's what we got going on. Thanks for being here tonight. You know the deal. Reach out if you got questions, comments. I will do the best May not be very good, but it'll be my best. I will do the best I can to help you out. Until then, all right, Gene, get it spun up. Until then, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. Woo! All right, everybody, be good. We'll see you tomorrow.